Welcome to Briefly Orbiting, a podcast about what happens when normal people come in contact with the world's biggest celebrities. I'm your host, Matt Courtois. We always go to my mother-in-law's house for Easter, which works out for me because most years the weather's nice enough to stay outside or sit on the porch. At one point, she had 7 cats, and I'm allergic to all of them. So venturing indoors is an all-out assault on my eyes, nose, throat, and most crucially, my lungs. Early in our dating days, I tried to spend the night at my in-laws, and I had the worst asthma attack of my life. I didn't end up in the ER, but I did have to shack up down the street at a cheap motel to ensure my survival. In the rare case that the weather doesn't cooperate and we're stuck in the house, I did learn a few tricks to minimize my exposure to the copious amounts of dander. During COVID, I figured out that masks work really well for both COVID and cat exposure. Another tip, don't sit down. Sofas and chairs are hot zones for feline fur, so I would take kitchen duty to help prepare Easter lunch. Afterwards, I would just wander around the house, looking at books and old photos. One day, I strolled back to my wife's childhood bedroom, which is largely frozen in time. Her closet is lined with VHS tapes of dance recitals and birthday party footage. One tape is marked, "The Love Boat Valentine Special, do not record over." Next to the bed, there's a collection of photos from her childhood, most of them in these little ornate frames. Pictures of her and her dad, pictures of her and her sister, family shots from events and holidays. All photos of a life before kids, before marriage, before me. Except for one. Picture it. Fall 2009, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. I'm sitting in a private airfield next to the airport and praying that it works. This is one of my first press tours and I want everything to go right. My client gave me the choice of stars from their November comedy for an Atlanta press day, and I'm betting on Paul Rudd. I'm also betting that he'll show up at the agreed upon meeting spot. I text my contact, an airline concierge of sorts. If someone is famous enough, this guy can escort him or her off the plane to a waiting luxury car on the tarmac, which already has their checked bag in the trunk flagged during the check-in process. No walking through the terminal, no baggage claim, no request for photos or autographs, just whisked away to a nearby meeting spot in another luxury car. ETA 5 minutes, my contact replies. He's there in 3. "Did you arrange this?" Paul asks, gesturing at the airline car. "I did," I reply. "Wow, I feel like George Clooney," he says. He's fresh off a late flight from Kansas City. He was supposed to start the press tour in another city, but he had to start in Atlanta so he can go home first, to visit his ailing father. But if he's carrying the heavy burden of an aging parent, he doesn't let it impact his ability to promote his latest project. Paul Rudd has come to play. But I think he sensed that I was nervous, because he pulls me aside to settle me down. "Hey man," he said, "you don't have to babysit me. If I don't want to do something, I'll let you know." And then we were off. For the first interview, he took off his gingham shirt, one that he told me his wife picked out, and put on his tight baby doll tee that the rock DJs hand out to the quote-unquote absolute tens. Rudd was named People's Sexiest Man Alive in 2021, so this tracks. Next, he plays a game of role models, spelled ROLL, with the alt-rock station. Paul pushes an office chair with a female station employee to various stations around the office, answering trivia at each one. As he rounds the corner down the hallway, gunning for the finish line, he actually does like this little parkour kick off the wall. Like I said, Paul Rudd came to play. Next, we motor across town to our second stop, yet another radio station. While in transit, Rudd asked the driver to tune the radio station in the car to the station that we're headed to, so he can riff off of whatever they're discussing when we get there. In retrospect, like that parkour kick off the wall, this is a really pro move. As we make our way to the CBS Atlanta radio building, the Dave FM midday host Mara Davis caught up with another radio legend, Miss Sophia, from Dave's sister station V103. Sophia is a very popular drag entertainer who's been an icon in the Atlanta and Black gay community for over 40 years. Inevitably, Rudd's upcoming interview comes up, and the two talk about how excited they are that he's coming. "Oh, I love him," Sophia said. "I want to interview him from my lab." So when we get to the studio, Rudd looks around and notices that Miss Sophia is missing. "Get her in here," he says. "I want to do the interview from her lab." A man of his word, he did it.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Miss Sophia. I was wanting to do the interview sitting on your lap.
Wait,
You did?
yeah, because I heard
Well, it's not too late.
And Miss Sophia, can Paul Rudd sit on your lap?
Sure, Paul.
Yeah, we might have to adjust this mic.
Okay, all the publicists in the room are looking very awkward and uncomfortable. They're all like, "What is this? Please promote the movie." Role models.
Oh, who cares about this movie?
Then it was off to CNN, where I got to witness a rare star-getting starstruck moment. While we were waiting for our interview, we were talking about how we both struggled with our weight after quitting smoking, when, all of a sudden, Rudd stops mid-sentence. "Is that Sanjay Gupta?" he asked. I turned, and sure enough, CNN's chief medical correspondent is walking right by us. But before he gets to where we're standing, he turns and walks up these little stairs in between a row of cubicles. "I can't believe that's really him," Rudd said. "Stars. They're just like us." The rest of the day is spent at the hotel, doing print and online interviews. During our lunch break, Rudd breaks out his computer and shows us a bunch of deleted scenes from the movie. He even confides in me that he's just booked his first appearance on Saturday Night Live, alongside musical guest, Beyonce. "They're saving a sketch for me," he says. "It's about a family called the Vogelchecks, and they all love to make out with each other." A few weeks later, that inside information really impresses my friends. Finally, around 3:30, we wrap for the day. I usher out the last of the online roundtable journalists, and I walk back into the hotel meeting room we've rented for the day. "Nice work today, Paul," I tell him. I pass him a Sharpie, and I grab the mounted posters placed around the room. "Just sign a few of these posters and we'll get you to the airport." As he's walking down the table, I figure it's a good time to finally make a confession to him. "Paul," I say, "I've always loved your work, but my wife is a huge fan. You're her absolute favorite." He looks up at me. "Call her and tell her to get down here. Let's hang out," he says. It takes a beat for me to respond. I'm trying to game out if this is even possible. She can't. She's at work," I say. "Right, work," he says. He continues signing the last of the posters, and then he puts the top back on the marker. Then he turns back to me. "Well, if she can't come down here," he says, "let's take some photos. They'll make her really jealous." Our agency account coordinator, Meg, she served as our photographer. In one shot, I'm looking at the camera and Paul's staring at my face, his nose an inch from my cheek. In another, I have my arm around him, and he's leaning lovingly into my shoulder. And that's the one. That's the shot that earns a spot in my wife's childhood bedroom. The one in the little gold frame, nestled with all of her other family photos. And that's when I realized that at a certain point, I also became family too. And if I'm family, Paul Rudd is family as well. Turns out I married into a lineage of Rudd lovers. We went back to their house this Easter, but this time it's different. There's no more cats. There's no more furniture to gather dander. We're putting the last touches on the house to get it ready to sell. We're boxing up over 50 years of memories to be sorted out later. Except for that photo in the little gold frame. That one comes home with us. Briefly Orbiting is written, produced, edited, and hosted by me, Matt Courtois. Briefly Orbiting is recorded in beautiful Marietta, Georgia, the small town with the biggest heart. Follow Briefly Orbiting on Instagram, YouTube, Substack, and Letterboxd at Briefly Orbiting. Do you have a good celebrity story that you think might make a good episode? Email me at brieflyorbiting@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, the world is a better place when you just let people be who they want to be.